So,
Eric,
how are you?
we chatted in the elevator already.
I know, we
do
already
we really
did
need to do this?
Yeah, we
Come
can
on,
do.
man.
We can just talk about other stuff if you want
grab a
to.
coffee.
Yeah,
Let's
go.
cut this off.
It's safe to say this is the most complex
Right.
X-Men film thus far.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with the original storyline?
No. When I first heard about it, I was actually shooting Wolverine in Australia. They told me about the idea, and I immediately, I was sent like a one-page synopsis on it. And I was like, I'm in. First of all, it would have been really hard to turn down. Anyway, the idea of having Bryan come back with the entire cast and the new cast was probably enough to get me across the line. But I just thought this is such a brilliant idea in every way. It feels so organic as a way to bring everyone together and smart. And the thing about Bryan is he's not only a great filmmaker and very ambitious for comic book movies, he's a big fan of time travel movies. So in every way for him, he was dotting the I's and crossing the T's. You know?
And do you worry about all of the logistics and crazy dynamics of the time travel stuff, or you just like leave that to the script?
I do worry about it, but my brain only goes about a third of the way you need to go in terms of worry. Because I would have probably, there's several things I go, oh yeah, good, we've solved that. And then someone said, well, what about this? You know, it is a difficult and complex thing, and you can't sort of underestimate how hard it is to have a movie with, I don't know what it is, 15, 16 main characters. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a lot in a 2-hour period to tie up, and I just think the film does that really well. In
an interesting way, Logan is sort of the voice of reason in this film.
Right, it was very weird.
Yeah, and everybody else, like Xavier and Magneto, they're showing all the rage.
Yeah.
That's a fun twist.
It was really fun for me to play, because Wolverine's the kind of guy who, like, you got to get it done, let's do it, or I'm going to take your head off. And all of a sudden he had to be the mentor, he had to be almost the diplomat. Everything about what he had to do was difficult and different for me, and it was really fun to do that. In a way, I do for Charles Xavier what he did for me in X-Men 1. Right. So it felt really terrific to do, actually. It's
got to be kind of fun also, the dynamic playing opposite Patrick and James, and then, you know, Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender. What was that like?
Well, just, I got to say, I think to fill the shoes of Ian and Patrick, really difficult. And those guys have filled them. They are phenomenal, both in First Class, and I think particularly in this. The dynamic they have is extraordinary. And actually just to be there and watch them, I mean, there's a big scene in a plane where I got to sit up the back and really watch, you know. To watch Patrick and James have that scene together, which, by the way, was James McAvoy's first day on set.
Oh, wow.
Literally the first thing he spoke was up against Patrick Stewart, his own character. I mean, and he smashed it, he nailed it, and it was really inspiring.
Is playing Logan just as fun as it was 15 years ago the first time?
More.
More?
It's more fun playing him now. I think maybe being a little older helps playing a character who could possibly be 200 years old and a little sort of crusty, and you know, I think it's certainly by midday I am just literally Wolverine. Then I start to wake up a little bit and I have to do a little bit of acting, but I am cranky and crotchety and very much on the verge of taking people's heads off till about noon.
Right.
But I think the script is great. The challenges are great. We're taking him into areas, both in the last movie, the Wolverine, and this, that he hasn't been before, and it makes it really exciting. Without
spoiling anything, the end of this film sets up a very interesting scenario. What's your vision?
You mean the end?
Yeah.
Or
both
like
ends.
the post-credits? Yes, both. Yes, both are interesting.
What is your vision of the franchise going forward?
I was not sure, I'll be honest, if the movie would feel like a really wonderful, we've come full circle, this is like a great conclusion, or whether it would feel like a fresh beginning. It actually feels somewhere in between, really, but more so a fresh beginning. And I got goosebumps at the end. There's so many payoffs for the fans. I've took some people to see the movie who had never seen it before, and they were like, you didn't need to see any of it. They really got into it. It felt like a fresh beginning. That is one of the greatest things that Bryan has pulled off in this movie.